So after about 20 years and 15,000 miles, this chain and sprocket has seen better days. The sprocket is definitely getting worn, but the chain, I mean, you can even see it doesn't even fit on the sprocket anymore. See those gaps? Look at this. Just, and when it gets right down here at the bottom, the teeth don't even line up with the chain anymore, so it doesn't even fit. So it's definitely time to change it. Oh, look how loose that is right there. The chain is super tight down here, right in the middle. Chain is super loose. All right, let's quit screwing around. Let's do this. It doesn't take too many tools to do this job. We have a 7/8 or 22 millimeter, same thing. It's actually for the axle nut, but on the other side. I don't have a 22 millimeter open end wrench. The exhaust is in the way, so I can't use a socket on the other side. But this side I can, and that one takes a 19 millimeter. So I'm going to use a 19 mil right here. Use the breaker bar to loosen it. The torque wrench, I don't actually need that until after I'm done. The needle nose pliers, just take out the cotter pin on the other side. I'll go over there and show you that. But we have a 12 mil and a 14 mil. And that for these two right here. The outside one's a 12, the inside's a 14. That's it, all we gotta do is loosen up the axle nut. Back these off a little. After I loosen all that up, I'm gonna jack the bike up and hopefully just pull the axle out and drop the tire straight down. I hope I don't have to take off the rear fender. Well, this back cover needs to come off. And that one little Allen head in there, that's what holds on that whole cover. Great. Trying to do this with one hand. Yeah, that's fun. Holy cow. It was just that one screw. Ooh, a little dirty. Now what I forgot to show you, because I already did it, there's a washer back here and it's bent in a couple spots just to help it not spin. You're supposed to flatten it, so I just took a big old screwdriver, just kind of pounded it down a little. Now this does work easier if you remove this sprocket before you remove the rear wheel. Mainly because you can have somebody hold the brake, or with the rear tire on the ground it can't turn. So I'm just going to try it. Let's see if I can loosen this. Oh. Ho, ho, ho. Yes! Good, that's what I was hoping for. Get that big old nut. What size is this? It's an 11/16. All this should just slide right off. Nope, don't lose that washer. There we go. Let's look at that. Yeah, that's ooh, that's pretty worn. I don't know if you can see any of that. The teeth are cupped on one side. So this is definitely right here. It kind of comes up and curves back. That is definitely time for a new one. On this side, you can see the axle nut is a 7/8 or 22 mil, but because my exhaust right here, I cannot fit a socket in there, so I'm using my 7/8, and I do not have a 22 millimeter open end wrench to fit in there, so I'm using a 7/8. Then there's that cotter pin. So pull that cotter pin, that axle nut will come right off. All right, time for the easiest part of the whole job. That's it. This should be pretty simple. Crap. I'm gonna go this way. Nice. Alright. Alright, I'm going to leave the axle nut on this side for now. I'm going to remove the adjustment screws first. Okay, there's that. Wow. I don't know if you can see that. The little 12 mil, I'm going to have to replace that. Oh, almost every corner is rounded off on it. Get a new one of those. Actually, I'll get all new ones. I might as well. I like starting over with nice shiny parts. Alright, get the other side. It's just like this side, so I don't need to show you that too. Obviously, working on a project, you're going to have nuts and bolts and extra parts laying around. You don't want to lose them. So if you have a Harbor Freight in town, go get one of these. Best 99 cents you'll ever spend. Now before you pull the rear axle, make sure you drop the rear caliper. I have made that mistake before. These two Allen heads right here. This one and this one. That's what you need to loosen. Ow! This one's not going to be fun. Whoa. You can tell these haven't been off before. I believe this is an 8 mil Allen wrench. If you don't have an 8 mil, I think 5/16 is the same as 8 mil. Alright, let's do not remove this. In the Kawasaki manual it says take the banjo bolt out. If you do that, you probably have to bleed your brakes. I'm not doing that. Alright, let's get this one. There it goes. Alright, all that's out. All I gotta do now is jack the bike up, pull the axle, and hopefully I can get the tire out from underneath this fender. Alright, let's try to get this out of here. Oh boy, that was fun. Get rid of that. Time to jack the bike up. Hopefully I can get it up high enough to drop the wheel. If I can't, then the fun part, removing that rear fender. Yuck. That was not too bad. I did not want to have to remove that rear fender. This should just pop off. Yes, it does. Check the bearings. There's bearings in there. You're going to want to check them. See if they wobble. Definitely re-grease them if they're good. Mine look great. There's no play, nothing. I'm just going to Just gonna re-grease them up. Here's the little rubber things. They, I don't know what they're called. They just fit it. These just fit in between. It just helps take up any shock. It's not metal against metal. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this on here. I'll come back later and re-grease it all. I'm going to leave this on here. Take these bolts off. It'll be much easier to hold that way. Get ready to put the new sprocket on. Sweet. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I could not leave this in the wheel. There's so much torque on these things. So I just took this out, stuck it in the vise, and loosened them up. Jeez. Anyways, you know how to get bolts undone. Wow, that thing is worn and dirty. I'm glad I'm getting a new one. All right, nice and shiny. I'm just seeing if it fits. I'm going to take all this off. I'm going to clean all of this. It's really hard to clean this wheel when it's up inside of this fender, so this is a perfect time. Get all these spokes cleaned, the hub, everything. Whew. Man, that is a big difference. Let's see how much. What the heck? These are totally different size sprockets. Do those look like they're the same sprocket? Doesn't to me. Supposedly they're both 42 teeth. No. This one says 40. Look at that. Somebody already switched this sprocket and put a 40 on here. It says 40 right there. This bike came with a 42. So I'm wondering if my front sprocket is an 18. Because that is something common people did on the drifters. They put a 40 in the rear and an 18 in the front to get a higher top end speed. You take off slower, but top end was higher. This bike came stock with a 42 in the rear and a 17 in the front. All right, I gotta get to this old chain out of here. I don't think it has a regular master link on it. I wish it did, that would be nice. My new one does. Probably have to grind off one of these and then just tear it apart that way, or sometimes it's just as easy to cutting wheel, cut the sucker right in half. Quicker I can get this done, quicker I'm back on the road. Well, we're getting close. All I gotta do is cut off the old chain, clean up the old wheel, grease the bearings. Oh, just a few other small things, put it all back together. I'm back on the road. We're almost done. Stick around. Make sure you grease this thing up. Get some grease in there. You're gonna grease up the axle anyway, so the axle push the grease right in there. But here we go. Stuff that in there. Spin that around a few times. Oh yeah. It's all good. Get closer. And this piece right here. I grease things that don't need to be greased. So I'm going to grease the inside of this because the axle goes through here. You're going to grease up the axle anyways, but you might as well have some already started. Make sure it goes on the right way. There you go. That's it. The hub is done. And like I said before, it's impossible to clean this wheel and everything once it's up inside of that fender. So if you notice, I cleaned the living snot out of the hub, the wheel, the tire, the hub, everything. It's like brand spanking new again. Of course, the first time I ride it, it's going to get all dirty, but at least it's going to look good for a few minutes. Now I gotta clean up all this crap in here. Boy, that looks horrible. All that red. It's like rusted powder from sprockets and chains wearing down. All right, time to get cleaning. It's probably not the smartest to wash your bike on the lift because the water has to go somewhere, so it's going on the floor. But I've got to clean this before I can put it back together, so who cares? I'll just have to mop the floor later. It looks a lot better than it did though. Man, this was horrible under here. Alright, let this dry. Let's get that rear wheel on. Alright, it is time for final assembly. I forgot what these were called the other day. They are coupling dampers. They're basically shock absorbers for the rear hub. Alright. I'm just putting this in there I'm going to have to put this in the vise to tighten down the bolts. I'm just doing this to start everything. That on there, all that. Put my freshly shined up sprocket nuts on here. You said sprocket nuts. I'm just starting them on here. I will not be able to torque it down. I made that mistake trying to take this thing off. Okay, I'm going to take this, mount it in the vise, torque these bolts down to 54 foot-pounds. I think that's, let me see, 74 newtons, 72 newtons. I'll figure that. I'll put that on the screen, let you know. Again, this is 17 millimeter. I have this already cranked down to 54 foot-pounds, and it is 74 newtons. So, let's get it. Just double check everything. This is one thing you do not want coming off on you. That's it. Let's get this rear wheel on. All right, just for a quick reference, this is the rear caliper bracket. It's going to mount up here. The caliper bolts to these two holes right here. The axle goes through this one. But if you see, there's a little slot right here. This slot slides on this piece right here. I just want to make sure that when you're putting this on, because you're going to be standing on the other side of the bike looking this way. I just want to make sure you see that and that you're not going under it or over it or just can't figure out why you can't get the thing on there. This fits on there, and this is what causes it to slide back and forth. So that was just for a little reference. I just want to make sure you guys know that that's there. Time to get the rear wheel on. I almost forgot the spacer on the other side. Do not forget this. I think it's time to put the rear axle in. Now, if you have these adjusters on your bike, make sure you put these on first. Nothing like getting this thing all greased up, stuffed on your bike, and realize you forgot your adjusters. I just use a regular old high temp wheel bearing grease. That's all you really need. Your axle isn't spinning. The bearings sitting on your axles are spinning. The grease is more just to get this sucker stuffed in there and to keep your axle from corroding. Just a real thin coat, that's all you really need. This is more fun to do when you have someone here to help you. I'm going to be honest with you. That went way easier than I thought it was going to go. Yes. That makes me happy. Let's bolt this thing up, put the chain on, the front sprocket, and get on the road. Now, when I was taking off the adjustment screws, they were pretty old, dirty, worn out, so I went out and got some new ones. I love starting off with new shiny parts. The adjusters, I also cleaned those up. Put them on the old wire wheel. They're sparkly now. All right, now to help keep this rear wheel straight, put on the rear caliper. Oh, well, a little easier than I thought. Of course, clean up all my nuts and bolts. If I don't buy new ones, I'm cleaning up the old ones. Well, I'm not going to completely torque these down yet, just in case I got to do some more adjusting. So I just put them down till they stop turning. Let's get the chain on, the front sprocket. Whew, getting close. This is a perfect day for doing this though. It's been raining all night, all day. We've had, I think just overnight we had an inch of rain, but it is muggy out now. All right, quit complaining. Get this thing done. Okay, time to get this chain on. Nice and sticky. Ooh, that's gonna be nice. I did go out and pick up a new master link. Some people call these a connecting link, but I got one with a clip. I'll show you that when I open it. The one that came with this is, it's just got the post that you gotta have a special tool that clamps it, and once it's on, it's on. You can't just remove the chain. These right here for, it was $8. You can get them $3-4 off the internet, but they're gonna charge you $6 for shipping. So I just went down to Hunt's Hog Shop and picked me up a nice little master link with a clip. First thing I gotta do is I gotta jack it up a little bit so I can spin the wheel. Oh, because of this fender, this is gonna be hard to do. Pretty much got to rip this little baggie open to get to the goop. There it goes. Now here's the difference between the two. This is just the regular style without a clip. You got to have a tool to clamp this together. It's basically a press fit. And then you're pretty much not getting this thing apart again unless you have some special tool, which I'm not going to buy. This, you put it on, and then you're going to use the clip. It's going to hold it in place. It's all good. Let's get this thing together. Now don't forget to put your X-rings on, but before you do that, goop it up. Well, that's some sticky stuff. All right, before you put the chain together, this front sprocket needs to go on first. Do a little oiling of the up here. Make sure the words are facing out. There you go. Washer. And 11/16 nut. That's just to hold it in place. The bike is in neutral, so this will spin. So I'm going to need it to spin while I'm adjusting the chain. You know that saying, he has a mouth like a sailor? I was in the Navy, and I just had to shut the camera off because of the words I was saying to try to get this stupid chain link together. I have no idea why my new master link did not fit this chain. It was exactly the same. It should have fit. So I had to use the old press-on master link. I don't have a press. I don't have that special tool, so I had to make one. I just spent the last hour trying to snap this stupid thing together. It's on. Now all I'm doing is trying to find the tight spot in the chain. Oh, I think it's right there. This should have between 1 inch to 1.25 inches slack. And how you measure it, you go to the middle of the chain, you measure from the middle of the pin. Pull your chain down, and then you push it all the way up with a tape measure. For me, this is the hardest part of the whole job. I seriously hate adjusting chains. All right, to adjust the slack on a chain, first you just spin the wheel. There will be a spot on the chain that actually gets tighter than the rest. I think I just passed it. Okay, right there. And you're gonna measure from the middle of the pin. So pull the chain down and push it up. Holy crap, that's about where I want it. I could actually tighten this down right where it is. All right, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna tighten this up and then go back and double check everything. Now this nut right here needs to be torqued down to 94 foot-pounds. That's a lot. You're putting your wrench on it, you're cranking on it, your rear tire is gonna wanna spin. Even if the bike is sitting on the tire, it's going to want to spin. So if you have somebody here, they can push down the rear brake. If you don't have someone here, just do what I did. I just took a strap, tied on my table, hooked to the pedal, tightened her down. Brake is on. All right, let's see if I can get this sucker torqued. Gosh, that seems like a lot. All right, that's 94 foot-pounds. Now don't forget to bend this washer back. It just helps this nut from loosening back up. I can put this cover back on. There's this little seal. It'll be on the inside of this, just like that. Well, it's got a little slit all the way down it. If you're trying to put this back on, that's a pain in the butt. Take this off first, put this on. There you go. And don't forget this one here. If you took this seal off, while you're cleaning it, make sure you put that back on. All you do is take this, stuff it right into that little groove. Don't forget about all these wires. You gotta pull these out of the way. Right, just like that. There it goes. All right. Screw in there. Snug it up and you're all good. Is my hair staticky? I feel like my hair's staticky. Well, we're done. Whew. The only thing I didn't show you is when I tightened up the rear axle, make sure you torque that down to 72 foot-pounds. Then the rear brake caliper, that was 25 pounds. And of course, my nice clean tire, no, his fingerprints all over it. It's all right, I'll clean it later. All right, I get to go take it for a spin now. Check out that new chain and those sprockets. Oh, I'm excited. All right, if I don't come back, you know there's a problem.